a little bit. So we're not going to officially begin the meeting yet. There's obviously no question that we'll get a quorum. A quorum is 150. I'm sure we've surpassed that already. There is still a substantial line outside. I imagine we'll be certainly able to start within the next 10 to 15 minutes. So I want to give those people a chance to register and get in. But we will start as close to 7 as possible. But we won't have to wait for a quorum, which is great. Everybody hear me okay now? Okay, great. Thank you. call the meeting to order. We appreciate your patience. There's still a few people out there, but we have a number of business matters to deal with, a couple of short reports before we actually get to the body of the meeting and the articles, so we'll give them plenty of time to register. I don't have the final number, but I will, and I'll pass it along, but it's obvious we have a good crowd, and we really appreciate you coming. As we always do, I'd like to open the meeting recognizing the chair of the Select Board, Tracy Marino, to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Thank you. Once again, we welcome you to the 2026 Annual Town Meeting. I know that there are some people, I won't ask you to be recognized to embarrass you, but I know there are some people who are not only new to a Pembroke Town Meeting, but new to town meeting in general, and we especially welcome you, and we hope you return. It is democracy in its purest form. The first order of business, if you recall the last several town meetings, we have had an acting town clerk since our then incumbent Peg Struzik retired. And there is a quirk in the state law that says that an acting town clerk cannot be the town clerk of the meeting. One of the roles of a town clerk, one of the many roles of a town clerk, is to be the clerk of the meeting. So Tracy Marino moves that Zoe Curtin, who is the assistant town clerk, be nominated to act as temporary town clerk for the purpose of conducting the annual and special 2025 meeting. Is there a second? Second. Chair here's a second. Are there any other nominees? Seeing none. All those in favor of appointing Zoe Curtin, to my right, as the clerk for this town meeting, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. Should also mention that the local scene town meeting is broadcasting town meeting live on Comcast 9. We thank David and the crew from the local scene, and you can watch it as many times as you want on youtube.com/Pembroke Meetings. So we appreciate that. And the last count we have is 417, which is excellent. So our quorum is 150, so we're well beyond that. And we appreciate everybody coming out. As we always do at the beginning of every town meeting, we take a moment to pause and remember those who have passed away over the past year, who have served the town in one capacity or another. And there are several of them that passed away last year, including Nancy Breyer, Pembroke Public School teacher, Joel Sugarman, who many of us knew very well, Pembroke School Committee, Friends of the Community Center, James Walsh, Pembroke Public School teacher, John Melkin, Council on Aging, Ed Flannery, longtime member of the Pembroke Police Department, Gary Young, our former plumbing and gas inspector, Kathy Ann DeCellier, Pembroke Public Schools, and on the Recreation Commission, and Jim Christie, who many of us knew worked for the DPW and the fire department. And also just a few months ago, we were all saddened to hear the passing of Linda Osborne, who has done many things in town, including being a great veterans advocate. So I ask that you pause a moment and keep them and their families in your prayers. Thank you. I won't take the time to introduce all the boards in front of us, but to the right is the hardworking members of the advisory committee. To my left are the hardworking members of the select board and the town manager. And we have tonight with us, our town council is normally Carolyn Murray from KP Law, but she could not make it tonight. So we have two KP Law associates or members, or maybe one a partner. And we welcome them tonight, David Jenkins and Abby Sklar. So thank you for being here. The ground rules, are, if you are new to town meeting, are fairly simple. You have to, when you wish to speak, we ask you to go to either one of the microphones. If you're in front and it's easier to use one of the microphones up here, please use that. Please state your name and your street. And you may think everybody knows who you are, but many people may not. And the chair can't always see with the glare from these lights. So we just ask you, even if you're a frequent flyer at these meetings, to just state your name and your street, so the press knows who's covering this, and if you make a motion, so the town clerk knows. All motions, with the exception of procedural motions, all amendments do have to be in writing. Again, we ask you to speak through the chair. The only exception to that is if you have a point of order, and the chair takes point of orders fairly liberally, and so if a point of order could be everything from, Mr. Moderator, I don't know what I'm voting on, or it's too hot or too cold, or I can't hear, to something more of a procedural nature. If you have a point of order, just jump up and yell, Mr. Moderator, point of order, and I'll recognize you, and then you can go to the microphone. We do not have a visitor section like we have in other years, and that's actually worked out well because we have so many people here tonight, but all the visitors do have wristbands, so they cannot be counted, whether it's a standing vote or any type of vote, but they are amongst us all, but they all have wristbands. And I mentioned PAC TV. The chair would just like to mention something briefly. One of the pet peeves of the chair is the fact that, and many in town government and elsewhere, is that we have no real press. We have WATD, we have the local scene, and we may have some other outlets. The chair does not consider Facebook as a credible news source, even though it's a source of information. But we are very close to having the Pembroke Citizens Journal, which will be a volunteer, at the beginning, all-line publication, like several other towns have, Plymouth, Hingham, Cohasset. It will in town government or observe town government, and I miss the death notices, quite honestly. And so it'll have that as well. So, Chair, just wanted to mention that. Before we start with the order of business, and we do have the lottery system, we have our high-tech ping pong balls here. The exception to that are Articles 1 and 2, which are the wage and personnel schedules and the budget. We'll take those first, and then the rest would be subject to lottery. But the chair would recognize the town manager, Bill Chenard, for one important building update.
Yes, thank you. Bill Chenard, Pembroke Town Manager. I just wanted to give the folks a quick update on our capital projects. Obviously, the two biggest capital projects ongoing right now are our public safety buildings. We have the public safety headquarters, which is at the corner of Barker and Washington Street, and we have a fire substation, which is at in the southern portion of town off of School Street near Monroe. Both projects are progressing incredibly well. I'm extremely happy. We've been able to manage things pretty aggressively so far. The buildings are pretty much on time and under budget. We are going to continue to aggressively manage them to keep them under budget, not spend any of the contingency money, or at least not spend the contingency money that we don't need to spend. We want to be able to give that back to the residents of the town. And I am incredibly confident that we're going to be able to do that. I was hoping to be able to announce a number tonight, but a bunch of people said, oh, don't do that yet. So I'm not going to do that yet, but I am incredibly confident that we're going to bring these in under budget. So I did want to do a quick update on some other projects. Our paving, our spring and summer paving has begun. If you drive High Street, I'm sure you're very happy. If you drove Center Street a week ago, you weren't very happy because we were working there, but the work on Center near Town Hall is complete, and we're progressing throughout the town. Some smaller roadways, you can check the town's website to see those, but I'm very pleased at our progress so far. So enough about capital projects. I did want to take a moment to recognize town staff. Several of the folks that work for the town of Pembroke and the Pembroke Public Schools are here as residents or as guests. If you folks could stand up, I know I didn't give you a heads up on this, but I want to be able to recognize you. and talk about your commitment to the town. Look at no one standing up, none of them. Anyway, they are here, trust me, and they are incredibly skilled and incredibly committed to this town. I also wanted to introduce our new town accountant, Tiffany Casulo, and I hope I pronounced it correct, Tiffany. Tiffany, stand up. You got to stand up. It's your first town meeting in Pembroke. Oh, she's back there. So, I'm all set, Steve, if you want.
Thank you. We do have a special town meeting, 2 articles that is scheduled for 7:30. So at some point after 7:30, we'll recess the annual and temporarily recess, take up the 2 articles in the special and go back to the annual. The tellers have been sworn in. Everybody should have 2 things, a warrant or access to a warrant. Unfortunately, we may be running a little short on warrants, so if you don't have one and you can share, that would be great. If anyone does not have a warrant, please raise your hand, and assuming we have a few left, and the tellers will provide it to you, or maybe someone can hand you theirs if they can share with someone else. And the other thing you should have is 2 pieces of paper, one that's orange and one that's blue, and that is in case a secret ballot is called, you'll be using those for the secret ballot, and we'll tell you which color is which, depending on the question. But everyone should have that, and if you lose it, you can't get another one. And we're ready to roll. First item of business is Article 1, and the chair recognizes from advisory Steve Walsh.
Move that the town amend Schedules A, B, and C of the classification compensation bylaws according to the schedules listed and printed in Appendix A of the 2026 annual town meeting warrant, and to appropriate from free cash the sum of $14,892 to fund the changes, and further authorize the town accountant to allocate the funds to the appropriate budget items voted under Article 2 of this meeting. Such changes will take effect July 1, 2026.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. These are the wage and personnel schedules for all of the town full-time and part-time employees, as well as elected officials. They are all listed in Appendix A of your warrant. We will take each schedule separately as a whole. Are there any questions on Schedule A, which covers full-time officers and employees? Seeing none, all those in favor of Schedule A as printed in the warrant, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. Schedule B, which covers all appointed part-time officers and employees, are there any questions? Seeing none, all those in favor of Schedule B as printed in the warrant, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. Schedule C covers full-time and part-time employees. Any questions on Schedule C? Seeing none, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. And Schedule D covers elected full-time and part-time officials. Any questions on Schedule D? Seeing none, all those in favor of Schedule D as printed in the warrant, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it, and I declare it so voted. We move on to Article 2, which, as I mentioned earlier, the 2 articles that we take out of order. Chair recognizes the longtime chair of the advisory committee, Linda Peterson.
Motion. Move that the town appropriate the sum of $83,788,482 to fund the operating expenses of the town for the fiscal year 2027 as listed under Appendix B of the 2026 annual town meeting warrant, column headed FY 2027 estimate, and to fix the salaries of elected officials as listed under Appendix A, Schedule D, and to fund this appropriation, raise and appropriate from taxation the sum of $79,867,484 and transfer the following sums: Capital Stabilization Fund, $50,000; Ambulance Fund, $1,205,000; Septic Loan Program, $84,006; Council on Aging Transportation, $105,000. School Athletic Fund, $56,875. Recreation involving clerical, $50,000. School Construction Fund, $70,335. Water Enterprise Indirect, $572,230. Solid Waste Enterprise Indirect, $64,222. Cemetery Trust Funds, $15,725. Regional ACO, $47,604. Free cash, $1,350,000. Overlay, $250,000.
Motion's been made and seconded. The way we traditionally do the budget is that we take each department and vote on each department separately. Now, the chair will read every department line item. We will go through it fairly quickly because, as you can see, and by the way, this is an Appendix B as in Bob, in the back of your warrant. If there is a question on any line item, please yell out question as I read that item, and we'll hold it, and we'll come right back to it before we vote the entire sum for the department. But absent that, we will try to get through it as quickly as possible, but not to trample on people's rights to ask questions if you have one. So the first office is that of moderator, $100. Any question? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. Select Board, Personal Services, $9,000. That's for elected. Personal Services, Professional, $246,038. General Expenses, $12,850. Audit Services, $46,000. Pond Treatment, $55,000. South Shore Community Action Council, $4,500. Any questions on those line items? Seeing none, all those in favor of the Select Board's budget, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. Town Manager, Personal Services, $199,588. General Expenses, $3,500. Any questions? Seeing none, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. Advisory Committee, Personal Services, $3,500. General Expenses, $450. Any question? Seeing none, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. Reserve Fund for Transfers, $80,000. Any question? All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. Town Accountant, Personal Services, $193,500. General Expenses, $47,130. Any question? All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. Board of Assessors, Personal Services, elected, $5,400. Personal Services, $327,593. General Expenses, $71,200. Any questions? Seeing none, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. Treasurer Collector, Personal Services, $480,682. General Expenses, $128,800. Any question? All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. Legal, Purchase of Services, $117,000. Any questions? All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. Information Technology, General Expenses, $177,556. Any question? All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. Town Clerk, Personal Services, $99,500. That's elected. Personal Services, $67,000. General Expenses, $15,090. Any question? All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. Elections, Personal Services, $60,000. General Expenses, $44,750. Any question? All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. Registrations, Personal Services, $13,300. General Expenses, $14,350. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. Conservation Commission, General Expenses, $500. Any question? All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. Planning Board, General Expenses, $1,800. Seeing no question, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. Zoning Board of Appeals, General Expenses, $1,800. Any question? All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. Town building maintenance, personal services, $236,861. General expenses, $153,110. Any questions? Seeing none, all those in favor, please say aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. Police Department, personal services, $4,560,103. General expenses, $410,300. Any questions on the Police Department? Seeing none, all those in favor, please say aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. Fire Department, personal services, $4,365,455. General expenses, $186,890. Any question? Seeing none, all those in favor, please say aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. Inspectional services, personal services, $601,908. General expenses, $34,050. Any question? All those in favor, please say aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. Emergency management, personal services, $4,500. General expenses, $10,000. Any question? All those in favor, please say aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. Animal control officer, personal services, $64,915. General expenses, $13,736. Any question? All those in favor, please say aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. Public Works, personal services, $1,144,915. General expenses, $415,350. Any question? All those in favor, please say aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. Snow and ice, $185,000. Any question? Seeing none, all those in favor, please say aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. Mr. Manager, we'll be seeing more of that line item, correct, in the special town meeting. Townwide utilities, $290,057. Any question? All those in favor, please say aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. Board of Health, general expenses, $27,650. Any question? All those in favor, please say aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. Senior services, personal services, $320,576. General expenses, $32,100. Senior tax program, $5,000. Any question? All those in favor, please say aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. Veteran services, personal services, $143,445. General expenses, $2,350. General relief, $115,000. Any question? All those in favor, please say aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. Commission on Disabilities, general expenses, $450. Any question? All those in favor, please say aye. Opposed, no. I didn't wait for the ayes. Library, personal services, $687,113. General expenses, $93,673. Books, $100,000. Any question? All those in favor, please say aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. Lydia Drake Library, general expenses, $5,400. Any question? All those in favor, please say aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. Recreation Commission, personal services, $192,318. General expenses, $11,600. Any question? All those in favor, please say aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. Community Center, personal services, $104,832. General expenses, $120,200. Any question? All those in favor, please say aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. Herring Fisheries, general expenses, $1,500. Any question? All those in favor, please say aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. Town Landing, personal services, $44,000. General expenses, $1,580. Any question? All those in favor, please say aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. Town Clock Winder, $1,650. Any question this year? All those in favor, please say aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. Town Memorial Committee, general expenses, $9,000. Any question? All those in favor, please say aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. Plymouth County Cooperative, $110. All those in favor, please say aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. Historical Commission, general expenses, $850. Any question? All those in favor, please say aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. Maturing debt principal, $1,232,398. Are there any questions? Seeing none, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. Maturing debt excluded, general expenses, $1,910,500. Any questions? Seeing none, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. Maturing debt interest, $279,685. Any question? All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. Maturing debt interest, $2,527,372. Any question? All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. Short-term interest, $315,000. Any question? All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. Retirement general expenses, $6,241,099. Any question? Seeing none, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. Unemployment compensation, $94,000. Any question? All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. Health insurance, $11,116,675. Any question? Seeing none, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. Life insurance, $20,000. Any question? All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. Medicare tax, general expenses, $641,000. Any question? All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. Property and liability insurance, $905,000. Any question? All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. All those opposed, say no. The ayes have it. Pembroke Public Schools, $41,280,729. Are there any questions? Seeing none, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. So all those in favor of the main motion made by Linda Peterson at the start, and there have been no changes to the budgets, all those in favor, takes a simple majority, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it, and I declare it so voted. So now we go on to our lottery system.
Special?
Tracy Marino moves that the annual town meeting be in recess so that we may take up the special town meeting. All those in favor, please, is there a second? Second. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. The annual town meeting is temporarily recessed, and we'll go to the special town meeting. Article 2 is the first item of business, and the chair recognizes Louis Carpenter from advisory.
I move to take no action.
That's a simple one. Any question? All those in favor of the motion by advisory to take no action on Article 2 of the special town meeting, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. And we go to Article 1. And the chair recognizes Steve Walsh from advisory.
Move that the sum of $596,510 be transferred from free cash to the supplement fiscal year 2026 appropriations in the amounts in the departments listed under Article 1 of the 2026 special town meeting warrant.
Motion's been made and seconded. Chair, just as one question. Is it $1,046,510 or not?
No, it should be 596, 510.
Okay, that's fine. Any question on this departmental transfer? Seeing none, all those in favor of the motion by Steve Walsh, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. Tracy Marino moves that the special town meeting be dismissed. Is there a second? Second. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. Now, Article 15 is the first item of business. And the chair recognizes Liz Benatti from advisory.
Mr. Moderator, move that the town hear and accept the reports of town officers, boards, and committees.
This is a fairly routine article, going back to the days when actually every town committee issued a report at town meeting floor. Those days are long gone. All those in favor of the motion, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. I declare it so voted. Article 11 is the next item of business. Linda Peterson from Advisory moves that Articles 10 and 11 be taken in order. Is there a second in that order? So we have the lottery system. We can suspend the lottery system and take an item out of order, but it requires a 4/5 vote. So the first item of business is to decide whether you want to take Articles 10 and 11, which are obviously related, together in that order. All those in favor of that motion by Linda Peterson, please raise your hand. All those opposed? The ayes have it, and I declare it so voted, having achieved the 4/5 necessary for passage. So we'll go first to Article 10, and the chair recognizes Sue Bollinger.
Move that the town approve the South Shore Regional Vocational Technical School District budget for fiscal year 2027 and to pay its assessed share of such budget, raise and appropriate $2 million, provided, however, that this vote shall not take effect until the town votes to exempt from the limitation on total taxes imposed by General Law, Chapter 59, Section 21C, Proposition 2.5, the amounts required to pay the town's allocable share of the district budget.
Is there a second? Second. Chair hears second. Sue Bollinger moves that Tom Hickey, Superintendent of the South Shore Regional Vocational Technical High School, be allowed to address the meeting. Is there a second? Second. So the normal procedure for our town meeting is you have to be a registered voter to speak and obviously to vote. Historically, we had exempted from that requirement any town employee like the town manager or the former town accountant or whomever who is not a town employee but is a town official. We don't actually need a special vote to allow them to speak. However, anyone, and we've done this a number of times over the past, anyone who is not from the town who may be asked to address a certain issue or wishes to speak needs permission for the town. That takes a simple majority. So all those in favor of the motion by Sue Bollinger to allow Tom Hickey, the superintendent of South Shore Voc, to address the meeting, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. I declare it so voted. Chair recognizes Sue Bollinger.
Okay, move that the town vote to appropriate the sum of $117,000 for
Oh,
the...
no, we're still on, you made the motion.
Okay, sorry.
We're on 10.
So,
We'll dispose with Article 10 first, then do Article 11.
okay, so it's been, I made the motion and it's already been seconded?
Yes, so
Okay. All right, so we're here to answer any questions that people might have about this, and, you know, we did actually, our superintendent put together the presentation that we've presented several times, and we also have a little information sheet that you got with your warrant, so if you have any questions, we'd be happy to answer them.
Chair recognizes, no, okay. Chair recognizes, yes, state your name.
My name is Ethan McHugh. So my first question was who put this together? Thank you for that. There's a slide here that says member town benefits. So, okay, if we vote for this, we increase property taxes by some number of $100 for 30 years. And the slide here says, and presumably these other towns have made similar commitments, in exchange for that amount of money being added to taxes, Rockland has received landscaping at Leisure Woods. Cohasset had some rails replaced and a catered luncheon for Elder Affairs. Abington had a flag and desk made for the Veterans Office. That seems wildly out of line.
Chair recognizes Superintendent of Schools Erin Obey.
Hi, so what you're looking at is the presentation that we gave for the past 18 months as part of kind of vocational information. The slide that you're referring to in particular discusses the benefits of the students that go to South Shore Tech that they bring back to their community. So any member community that has students going to South Shore Tech are able to tap into some of the resources at the Tech to do such things as help senior citizens with taxes, build a ramp at the Veteran Services. That's just a sampling of projects in the community that the students at the vocational school have worked in.
So
It's not an offset for the increase
Okay.
or the tuition.
So
no.
it's like students who went there did public service.
Yeah, current students, current Rockland or Abington students coming back into their community to give back.
Gotcha. And this historical acceptances, I can't help but notice that the number went up and then way down. Well, it peaked at 2.92% of enrollment in 2022. So that was 80 kids total enrolled in Votech. And then in 2024, which it was 30, which was 1.2%. And then in 2025, though this year, 2025 to 2026, so last period, it was 18 kids at 0.75% enrollment. What does that mean?
So there was a change in the admission policy associated with vocational education, and regional school districts like South Shore Tech had to take every student that qualified for admission from their member towns before they could tuition in any students from out of district. So the numbers that you referred to, the higher numbers, the 80s, was when South Shore Tech could tuition in students, so Pembroke students were able to get seats. After that change, we were no longer able to get seats because all available seats went to member towns.
Okay,
So the chair would just remind that any questions have to be addressed through the chair, and we can't allow it to be a back and forth. And I want to give chair wants to give other folks a chance to talk, but I will allow you to ask one more question, and I'll recognize the
okay.
superintendent if you have another question.
And it says at full enrollment, Pembroke would have the 80 to 84 seats that I guess we had before the rule change. And when we start out, I think I saw somewhere in here, is it 10? We have 10 students that will be allowed until it's fully constructed, something like that?
Chair recognizes Superintendent Erin Obey.
Sure. So when we are a member town, the 84 seats represents our portion of seats in the building. So it's based off of this number of students in your 8th grade class. On a rolling enrollment basis. So there was no set number of seats prior. That was the number of students that we were able to gain seats for that were not taken up by the member town. So there's no relation between the 80 from 2022 and the 84 in 2031. The first year of membership, so school year 27-28, South Shore Tech would still be in its original building. So for that year only, we would have 10 seats. And then the following year, when they move into the new building, we'd get our proportional share of seats, which is estimated to be 20 to 21 seats each year for the next 4 years.
Chair recognizes, if you could state your name.
Hi, Joan Durgan, Lapham Avenue. I just have a question about the expenses, the $2 million. If we sent 86 students in 2021, how did you pay for that in 2021?
Chair recognizes Superintendent.
Sure, it was part of our operating budget in 2021. So that was the tuition at that time, I believe, was anywhere from $19,000 to $23,000 per student. So that was part of our operating budget.
So I'm just wondering.
Chair recognizes. Okay.
I'm just wondering why we need to pay $2 million now for the same number of students that we've sent in when they did accept us.
So we
Chair
haven't.
recognizes Superintendent.
So we haven't sent students in several years, so those funds are no longer available in our operating budget. We still continue to send students to Norfolk Aggie, so we have about $606,000 to $650,000 worth of expense in our current budget for agricultural schools, but there's no expense in there for
My
vocational.
last question, there's a lot of stuff on Facebook, which I know you shouldn't believe everything. So 10 students, you're asking for $2 million every year, but only 10 students are going to go, which may be $26,000, so $260,000. Where is the rest of the money going each year? For taxpayers, we shouldn't have to pay for something that we don't know where it's going for until it's done.
Chair recognizes Superintendent Obi.
Sure. So that's something we've discussed at each of the informational sessions, as well as a joint meeting that we had with the select board. And so in the first few years where we're not spending all the way up to the $2 million for the full enrollment of students, those additional dollars, or surplus for lack of a better word, would be targeted towards one-time expenses, so mostly capital projects. From the school perspective, we have asked every year for the past 8 or 9 years for a large sum of money for HVAC repairs in our buildings. We are finally in a place where we have enough money together to replace the HVAC at Havelock. That's $1.3 million. So for the years in which there is extra capacity in that $2 million, we would be looking to target it towards school renovation and remodel projects like HVAC, flooring. I said it once, I've said it a million times. All of our buildings were renovated and remodeled in the same 3-year period. So every pipe, every sink, every toilet, every brick is 26 years old in all 5 of our buildings.
So does that $2
Well,
million?
again, I'll allow one more. You have to give me your name again because
Joan Durgan.
Joan. Chair recognizes Joan
So
Durgan.
does that $2 million become part of the school committee, the school's budget going forward?
Chair recognizes Superintendent.
Sure, for the first year, it goes to the schools because that's what it's voted for. After that, it's the will of town. Generally, it has stayed earmarked for the schools, so we did have a successful override in 2013 for $1.3 million. That has stayed in the school budget.
Oh, okay.
Yes. You state your name.
Ethan McHugh?
Oh, yeah, Ethan, yes.
I'm back here. So this is actually a question to you, Chair, and whoever might have an answer. When was the last time this school had a renovation?
Chair recognizes Superintendent.
The renovation here at Pembroke High School, which you'll remember was Silver Lake Middle School, was completed in 2001. Most of the building was existing to remain, including the 26 HVAC units on the roof. Some of them are 46 years old here. So 2001.
Okay.
Is there any further discussion or debate? The chair assumes the meeting knows this, but both Articles 10 and 11 are contingent upon 2 ballot questions that must pass on Saturday during the election. If neither of these questions pass, the outcome of the election Saturday is moot, whether the questions pass or not. But in order for these 2 questions to be fully implemented, they need to pass both the town meeting and also at the ballot box on Saturday. So this is step 1. If you could state your name.
Hi, I'm Melissa Hooley, 12 Bonnie Street. I just wanted to make it clear for these articles, this is the vocational articles that everyone's talking about. It's all over Facebook. So we haven't gotten kids in. I grew up here. We had vocational options. When I grew up here, probably everyone in this room has had vocational options. For the past 5 years, Pembroke kids have not had the option to get a vocational education. So we're one of the only towns around that does not offer this education. So I just wanted to make it clear, if anyone's in support or whatever it is, this is the time to have your comments. And, you know, we've all had them on Facebook. Come out and have them now. Let's all have them together here. But I just wanted to make it very clear, if we do not pass this tonight, then we lose that education for Pembroke kids. So I just wanted everyone to know that. So please just know that. Thank you.
Chair recognizes Alan Peterson. Alan Peterson.
Thank you. Mr. Moderator, through you to Mrs. Obie, school superintendent. When's the last time that Pembroke schools sent someone to VOTEC training? And was what the last speaker said accurate? If we do not pass this tonight, future students will not have any vocational opportunities.
Chair recognizes Superintendent Obie.
Sure. 2022 was the last time we sent an incoming 9th grader to South Shore Tech. And Melissa's comment is correct. If this does not pass tonight, that option for students in Pembroke won't exist.
Is there any further debate on this issue? Well, first of all, you just run to the microphone so we can hear what your point of order is.
So he didn't ask when was the last time.
What's your point of order?
My point of order is that it wasn't an answer to his question.
No. So the point of order is not well taken. The chair cannot compel to answer anyone in one way or another, and the answer is the answer. If you have a further question, you're welcome to ask it. But the chair wants to recognize those who have previously not spoken. So if you could state your name.
I think it's my turn, sir. Yeah, you go. My name is Patrick McMahon. I'm from Phillips Road. I've been in this town for 44 years. I went to South Shore Votech. I graduated in 2001. Some of you may know me. I own a company local to the town. I have 15 employees. I wouldn't have had this option if I didn't go to South Shore Votech. You know, not all kids fit the same mold. I went to this very school for junior high school. I didn't fit in here. It didn't make sense to me. I was presented with a choice, and when I went, you only allowed 3 kids. You had to pass a test to get in. We were the only town that had that option. But once I got to South Shore Votech and I got in, within a week I fit. It was the first time I actually loved school. I wanted to go to school. This is the option you all need to think of when you're voting, is our kids. I have 2 kids that fit the same mold. They have mechanical brains. I don't have any less of an education for going to that school. I have a better education because they work with strategies to help you the way your mind works, not the way the mind works of somebody that wants to go to this junior high school. So just think of that. I made it. I'm somewhat successful. I run a local company in the town. And I love to give back to our community. Anybody in this room that knows me knows we love to give this community. So it is worth it to let kids go and come back and help. I help with the schools. I help any way I can. So it's just something I'd like everyone to think of. Not all kids are built the same. Some kids want to go to mechanical schools. And if we do pass this up, we don't have that opportunity to go there. So, thank you.
Chair recognizes the person on the microphone here. If you could state your name.
Hi, my name's Jean Comfort. I'm at 28 Adams Ave. I am a retiree, a new resident of Pembroke, and I've gotten very involved in this Votech business. When I was about 25 years old, I wasn't going to vote for a repair bill for school because I couldn't afford it. And I thought it wasn't my responsibility. I didn't have any children in school. And my mother told me it was my responsibility to educate the future. I'm very proud of the education I received at public schools. It has afforded me to be a retiree. I now live on a fixed income. I'm not excited about a great tax increase, but I'm very excited about the opportunity to provide for our children, others' children, a future offering of an assortment by excluding them the opportunity to go to Votech. If that's what they so choose to do, I think we're short-sighted. I know myself. If I can look down and I can break out the numbers, and I've got all the numbers for you, if it breaks down, I can afford to give up Dunkin' Donuts. I can afford to stop going to Kohl's. I can afford to buy a little less at the grocery store if it means that a child is going to get an education that he or she is going to find to be successful. I'm not sure which one of these articles this all works for, between 10 and 11, because it all kind of combines together. But I ask you all tonight to vote yes on both 10 and 11. This affords us the opportunity to get the vote to Saturday. If we say no tonight, we don't have that opportunity. You still have an additional 4 days to make your determination whether it's a yes vote or a no vote. I'm happy to answer any questions for you after this meeting individually. I have all the financials. I go to the business meetings. I go to the business advisory meetings. I go to the school committee meetings. I welcome you all to come join me. I will tell you that I only see about 10 people there, and in some of those meetings, I see 3. So there's a lot of opportunity in this town to get involved and to get educated. But please, let's vote tonight, yes. Let's get the 2/3 vote, and Saturday is our final vote. And that's the determination. But if we don't give the opportunity tonight, we don't get to Saturday. Please, our children are afforded this. Thank you.
Chair recognizes the gentleman to my left. If you could state your name.
Ian Murphy, Center Street.
Hugh?
Ian.
Ian.
Yes. So, Chairman, this room is filled with leaders in the community, whether it's business, social clubs, community organizations. We're all leaders in our own way, at very least in our own homes. We have an example to set. And the truth is, if we see $50 a month or $100 a month in an additional line item to ensure that 86 kids get an opportunity that I didn't. I grew up one town over. I grew up in Marshfield. I moved over here. We had no VOTEC option. They do now, and I see amazing things coming out of those young men and women. They're being leaders. We have one gentleman here who went and is now employing 15 other people. I can tell you right now, not everybody in this room can say that they're adding to the economy and the local business like that. That was afforded through a technical education that our economy, I don't know if anybody's been paying attention at all either, our economy is in desperate need for technical and mechanical workers. You talk to anyone that's in a trade, they can't find an apprentice. They can't find a journeyman. This is a plan that takes Pembroke kids into a position that does not include $250,000 of debt by the time they're allowed to drink. Let that sink in. And Chairman, if I could ask the representatives a question through you.
Go ahead.
What is the employment rate post-graduation from VOTEC? And I'll leave it at that.
Chair,
That is definitely a Tom Hickey question.
Chair recognizes Superintendent Obie.
I'm going to ask Tom Hickey to come down and give those stats.
Chair recognizes Tom Hickey.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. Good evening, everyone. Question regarding employment rate. The state expects us to track our graduates 1 year after they graduate. They're looking for positive placement. They're looking for direct employment, service in the military, or post-secondary education. Specifically for employment, we're seeing close to 2/3 of our graduates going directly to work.
Chair recognizes the former chair of advisory, Steve...
Matthew McNeely.
Matthew McNeely, I'm sorry.
Matthew McNeely, 4 High Street East. I would ask the chair how many students that enroll in the program when they're in 9th grade are in the same enrollment when they graduate in the 12th grade. Simply because I grew up in Hingham and I went to Weymouth VOTEC. I was unable to get into my first choice and had to go to a second choice program, and I ended up leaving and and I graduated from Hingham High School. So I'm asking, the reason my question is, how many kids enroll in a program in 9th grade and continue through that program through the 12th?
Chair recognizes Superintendent Hickey.
Other than attrition rates of a student leaving the school for whatever reason, maybe they move out of the district, the overwhelming number of students who enroll in a program after exploratory, halfway through their freshman year, ultimately stay in the program.
Chair recognizes Don Bryant.
Thank you. Don Bryant at Mountain Avenue. I have the unpleasant duty of managing a Facebook page here in town. I have to read everything just to manage the page. So I'm in touch with what everybody's saying, or at least people who visit our page. Be proved. I don't think it is provable after 100+ years of VOTEC education in our country. But I'd like to say that I personally reject that argument.
Students, Legos and building towers out of straws and whatnot. So I'm a full supporter of VOTEC. I do have some questions about what happens when our enrollment at Pembroke High School declines by 84 students, how that affects the programming at the high school for everyone else. I would also ask that if we do have 46-year-old HVAC units on our roofs, in 5 years when schools come and ask for an override to...
Board member Arthur Boyle.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. It's nothing worse than having to listen to a former politician on a night where you'd normally be off. I'm going to read from notes because I've had a recent illness and it's kept me from retaining a lot of the language. But I just happened to notice as I walked up the aisle, you've got Tiny and Sons Glass, you've got East Coast HV systems. You've got people in this town that live in this town and do good things for good people. And I think the fact that they're behind it and they support it, they do a nice job, and it's well worth the support. But as far as comments go, it troubled me when I was quite surprised, when I was made aware of Pembroke and their intention to join up with South Shore Voc. That is probably one of the best acquisitions we've made. And I speak from the experience of having been the chairman of the school committee when we split from Silver Lake. And we made a radical move then, we make a radical move now. It's a good plan. Excuse me. The bottom line of the $4 that we hear and the students are going to return to us as carpenters, and electricians, and auto technicians, and they're all bringing something positive back to the community, in other words. We might be here making a night of the all-night let me just get to Pembroke is up to over 30 years and is far better for it, having moved out of Silver Lake. So I think you have to trust the people that you elected to do a good job and get a communication going with the two municipal buildings that we've got on the charts. We've got you've got yeah, that's my wife who's going to step in and read the comments, but they're virtually done. But honey, I love you for it. I know parents don't need another night out, and they need less to be told what they should do, and they're more apt to answer when the question is put to them in a questionable fashion, as opposed to being a demand. I like the idea of giving up the cup of coffee at Dunkin' Donuts, That saves those of us that have to ride through there in the morning. It's a hazard in itself. All I can say in conclusion is we've done things in education, and we will continue to have sound education. You'll not go wrong with South Shore Voc. They're a great school. I spent 10 years in Wakefield in the Northeast Regional Vocational School System, and I spent 10 years in the Malden Public School System, and another 10 years with Silver Lake, and a trip on the Pembroke School Committee as well. So I've actually served on 4 different school committees, and that's a mass record, by the way. Well, I just ask you to, give these kids a chance, and they won't disappoint you. They'll be back as community leaders. And, thank you very much.
Chair recognizes the gentleman to my left.
Adam Ryan, Birch Street. You're going to have to work with me here because I'm not much of a public speaker. But what I am is a business owner, local business owner. I'm a parent, and I'm also a graduate of the Votech 2001 with Pat. I don't have 15 employees like him over here, but I do have 2 co-op students. And one of them is a senior this year who will be coming on full-time with me as soon as he graduates. Growing up, school wasn't for me. The education process is tough for people, for kids. I mean, they're still trying to figure it out. I was lucky enough to get the opportunity to go that route, and then I found my place. I found something I was passionate about, and it's something I still practice today. And it should be offered to every student. Every child in this community could only benefit from it. And if they didn't want to stay in the trades after it, they could still go to college. They could go their own route. But at least they'd have skills and opportunity to fall back on or to exceed in. And that's what I did. And it would be very sad not to see that opportunity offered to all of your children or grandchildren, nieces and nephews. It's a good opportunity, and I think that we should support it.
You can state your name.
Mr. Moderator, Bob Kenny, 20 Taylor Point Road. I move that we move the question.
Bob. So the motion to move the question is always in order. It is not debatable. It's been seconded, right? Someone seconded? All those in favor of moving the question, which means we would go right to a vote. All those in favor of moving the question, please raise your hand. All those opposed? The ayes have it, and I declare it so voted. So we'll go right to the vote on the motion by Sue Bollinger, which has been seconded and well debated. We'll try it first with a show of hands. All those requires a simple majority. All those in favor of the motion by Sue Bollinger of the school committee, please raise your hand. All those opposed? Yeah. Let's do a standing vote. I think, yeah, let's do a standing vote just to be clear. So I'd ask you that if the tellers have been sworn in, they know where they are supposed to be counting. State your point of order.
If in fact there was a time to ask for a secret ballot vote before this vote, is this the time to ask? All you have to do is say no. All I'm doing is putting it out there.
So
Is this the time to ask, Mr.
the
Moderator?
question, it's always the time to ask. The question is, it's not the appropriate time to take it because we're in the middle of a vote. So it's a little bit late, although you could question the vote afterwards, or you could move, well, no, once we're done, that's it. Am I correct, Town Council, right? So we've already started a standing vote, so I would ask any of those standing in the back will not be counted. Have to be in, and there's plenty of seats here, squeeze in, and I would ask that all those in favor of the motion by Sue Bollinger to please stand and remain standing until counted. Please, if you're standing in the back, find a chair. There's some up in the corner back there. There's some down front. So I'm going to ask the tellers to just hand me the signed sheets, tally sheets. Yes, we're still on. Yeah, please remain standing until all the tellers have reported.
Mr. Moderator, Matt Newman, 35 yes.
Karen Wright, 53 yes.
Ginny Wandell, 45 yes.
Karen Flashman, 57 yes.
Sue Renee, 72 yes.
You can be seated, and then we'll ask all those opposed to the motion, please stand and remain standing until counted.
Karen Flashman, 21 no.
Karen Wright, 31 no.
Ginny Wandell, 18 no.
Matt Newman, 23 no.
Sue Renee, 63 no.
You can be seated. This is a majority.
Oh, it's a majority. Oh, I thought this was a two-thirds. Okay. All right, so then,
On this matter, 262 voting in the affirmative, 156 voting in a negative. I declare it so voted.
I'm sorry, this is two-thirds.
Next item of business is Article 11. This chair recognizes Sue Bollinger. Please state your point of order. No, two-thirds is required for this vote. I'm sorry, I jumped ahead, but if you're asking, this simply required a majority vote. The next, Article 11, requires a two-thirds vote. Chair recognizes Sue Bollinger from the school committee.
Move that the town vote to appropriate the sum of $117,000 for the purpose of paying the town's eligible share for fiscal year 2027 of the bonds issued by the South Shore Regional Vocational Technical School District in order to pay the costs of designing, constructing, originally equipping, and furnishing a new district high school and related athletic facilities located at 476 Webster Street, Hanover, Massachusetts, including the payment of all costs incidental and related thereto, provided, however, that this vote shall not take effect until the town votes to exempt from the limitation on total taxes imposed by GL 5921C, Proposition 2.5, the amounts required to pay the town's allocable share of the bonds issued by the district for such purpose.
Is there a second? Motion's been made and seconded. Chair recognizes Sue Bollinger.
Yep, so this is, for the purpose of building the high school. So this is just the first year share, from what I understand.
Chair recognizes former Select Board member Bill Colletti.
Mr. Moderator, having been in this town for over 60 years and proudly graduating from this building, attending Pembroke School, fund this project. I'm not sure how much we gave up to fund the community center a few years ago, this public safety building that's under construction now. And I also am not sure what the percentage of the town of Pembroke is over the age of 65. But gas right now, approaching $5 a gallon. People are squeezed, and I just want to ask, when is enough enough? I mean, when is, I've been paying property taxes in this town for 30 years, and it's going up every year. I did 40 years in the building trades myself. I didn't go to a VOTEC. There was apprenticeship programs. All types of building trades apprenticeship programs are available. So I would just like to speak for the elderly taxpayers in this town who are on fixed incomes, and just would like to ask the question, when is enough enough? Thank you.
Chair recognizes, Melissa?
Melissa Hooley, yep, 12 Bonnie Street. I just wanted to let everyone in the room that's a VOTEC supporter know this is the second part of it, so if you're a supporter, stand tall and proud for this article as well. Thank you.
Chair recognizes former Select Board member Steve Siciotti.
All right, thank you. So this is something that's been getting explored for years now. And for a long time, I was against joining. There's letters up on the Pembroke for VOTEC page where I stated why I had major reservations against it. A big part of it was because of costs. Another big part of it was I felt it was very important that all of the options were explored and that for one way or the other, we had to find a way to get some VOTEC options for our kids. And years literally have been spent looking at what the potential options are. And the reality is South Shore VOTEC is not just the best option, it's also the lowest cost option that's available to us. So this is kind of a here and now, now or never kind of situation. The other thing to remember too is the costs are, they're definitely going to be a cost to join. And nobody likes their taxes going up for any reason really. I'm very fiscally conservative myself. But the one thing to note is that the state is subsidizing the construction of this building by, I think it's, correct me if I'm wrong, 60%? Is that correct? Is it 60%? I believe 60% of the building is funded by the state, and the rest is what's being split up amongst the town. So the construction piece of it is actually a really good deal for what's available out there. So I struggled with it for a while. I came to think that it was worth it. Is it 40? It's 40%. 40. I had it backwards. 40%. So the state is subsidizing at 40%, and the member towns are left with 60%. So I apologize for that piece. The other thing to note is that, as was mentioned earlier, the labor markets, there's our kids that we're talking about. Our kids need this, but our labor market's really struggling. So when you go to try to construct a house or buy a house, the costs keep going up higher and higher. You talk to any contractors out there, they're struggling with finding skilled labor to help them to do this. And that lack of labor increases the cost and drags out the time for avail, and which drags out your overhead as well. So labor markets need it. A big piece too that people need to think about, and we've heard a couple stories here, is about the kids. And there are a lot of kids who are maybe a square peg and they don't fit in a round hole. It doesn't make them greater or lesser or on either side that you go into, this just doesn't fit. And there's a lot of kids who struggle with the standard academic environment, but when they're exposed and they go more to a technical environment, they blossom. And I've heard a lot of stories like this. So it's not just about the opportunities, which is a huge piece of it, the leg up there. It's also about making sure those square pegs can fit into a square hole and the round pegs can fit into the round hole. That's a huge piece of it. The final thing that I'll say is that, so the vote was just taken on the previous vote. It was a very clear, simple majority. It's a close 2/3 majority. 2/3 are needed here. I implore you, if you voted no, please consider voting yes. Put it in front of the town voters to make this decision. If you thought that, I don't know, I'm for it, I'm against it, for this reason or the other, please consider changing your no vote to a yes. Put it to the town voters. Let's continue having the debate for a few more days. I think that it's worth it, seriously. Please consider. Thank you.
The chair believes it's an important piece of information for the meeting to know what would happen if one question passes a town meeting and the second question doesn't, what that implication is on the total vote, on the total effort. And the chair perhaps could either recognize the school committee member or the town manager to answer that question, because the previous speaker brings up an important point. Chair recognizes Bill Chenard.
Yeah, so if any of the 4 votes fails, the entire opportunity fails. So if one of the votes this evening fails, or if 2 of the votes on the ballot, either of the 2 votes on the ballot fail, then the measure is failed, and we're not going to have the opportunity to go to South Shore VOTEC.
Chair recognizes, I should know your name and I don't, I'm sorry.
Karen Flashman, School Street.
Karen.
Mr. Moderator, I propose we move the question.
Second.
So the motion to move the question is always in order. However, the moderator does have some discretion if, in the moderator's opinion, that there has not been sufficient debate. We've had 2 speakers speak. It's a relatively important question. Ballot question hinges, 2 ballot questions actually hinge on the outcome of this vote. So the chair is not going to accept the motion in his discretion at this point and allow several other people to speak who have not yet addressed the meeting. Chair recognizes the gentleman to my left. Please state a point of order.
What's the process for challenging the ruling of the town?
There is no process to challenge a ruling of the town moderator unless it's a call of the vote. So it's most often, usually, a motion to move the question is in order. However, considering the gravity of the nature of these questions and what is contingent upon the outcome of this vote, and the fact that only 2 people spoke, the chair believes that we should give voters opportunity to at least offer a few more comments, particularly those who've been standing for a while, like this gentleman to my left. The chair recognizes this gentleman. If you could state your name.
My name is Stephen Roundtree.
The chair recognizes Stephen Roundtree.
You know, I wanted to speak to you all because I supported the town center building. I supported the public safety building. I don't have any children in town, but I support this measure. And I'll tell you why. Education's the key to the future of everything, okay? Without a doubt. Whatever you're investing in, if it's not the future of our children, then it's not worthy of your investment, to be honest with you. And I'm not a big advocate myself of a VOTEC school, only because I had a VOTEC education growing up. One of the things that I feel is missing in this town is that we don't do enough in our citizenship with our children and with each other. We're not a close enough community. We all live far apart, we all live on our separate lots, but we don't do enough together as people. We the people is failing in Pembroke, from my perspective. I did the master plan for the town. I really think I fell short of achieving the goals I wanted to get, okay? One of the goals was water. We just had our budget for the Conservation Commission come up. It's a $500 budget. We supply water to 7 towns from our ponds. We do nothing to protect the water. Without clean water, we don't even have a civilization. And it's because we don't sit and talk about the importance of doing things from an economic standpoint, right? Because it's better to spend your money to protect water than to try to figure out how to clean it when it's dirty and filter it. There was a line item for $55,000 for pond something in one of the measures, the Appendix B. That I felt that should have been under conservation. Why isn't conservation in charge of a $55,000 budget dealing with ponds? Just as a simple question. But here's my feeling about this thing, okay? Is that education is a requirement for a civilization. It is a requirement. Is this the right way to get it done? That's another question. But the problem is our planning is the problem. Not this issue, it's the town's planning that's the problem. I don't agree with the fact that we're going to spend $2 million for this measure and then the money is going to get used somewhere else if it's not needed for the VOTEC. From my perspective, that should go into account, gather interest, and then that money will be there for the VOTEC program for infinitum. Use the money to fix the 2 buildings in the middle of town. If we're putting money up for education, we have 2 buildings that were donated for education. That money should go to fix those buildings, and we should start using them to educate kids ourselves. I'm just saying we don't do things to a good plan, and we need to start working that way. I really don't agree with us right now voting to put this money up and then have that money the first year go to other stuff. I am against that. That money should go towards educational things, because that's what we're voting for. And I really believe it should go towards fixing the buildings in the center of town. And then we should start educating our kids, ourselves, with new technology. I would be the first one to volunteer to teach three-dimensional design and 3D CAD and solid modeling, and I have my own 3D printer. $4,000 3D printer. I'll teach kids how to build things. But I think we all need to start doing stuff in our community for our kids. Everyone should understand children are raised by a community, not by a pair of parents. Up to the age of 9, a child is yours. After 9, the child is the community's. From an educational standpoint, that's been proven and been written in many books.
So the chair would just point out that there's already been a motion to move the question, which the chair, in its prerogative, has denied. However, it's obvious that there are those who would like to move this along. So the chair just asked that previous speakers, that any upcoming speakers, try to keep it as concise as possible, try to hit the points that have not already been discussed so we can move the debate along without unnecessarily cutting people off. The chair recognizes gentleman.
John Kenny, Forest Street.
John Kenny.
I'm a lifelong Pembroke resident. I graduated from South Shore Votech in 2002. Mr. Hickey was my science teacher in 1998. He's the most dedicated guy in that building. If you guys think a guy like that guy can teach anyone AutoCAD, you're out of your mind. I went there for drafting. I became a master electrician in 4 states. I do AutoCAD every day because I got taught by people at Votech. If the 65 and older crowd doesn't think a $400 investment will go tenfold in 3 years, you're out of your mind. Vote yes.
Chair recognizes the gentleman to my left.
Good evening. My name is Alan Fielding from Alice Avenue. I wasn't planning on speaking, so I'd like to thank the 6 people that had to stand up for me to get out of the aisle. I will be the square peg in this argument. We've heard a lot from Votech graduates. I was a traditional school attendee, and I was miserable for all 4 years. I was good at it, I got good grades, I was just not interested in all the material. I was a victim of the MCAS, just standardized testing, telling you whether you're going to be destined for greatness or if you're going to be homeless at an intersection, based on a score. I went to the military as opposed to other life choices that would have landed me into a bad situation. And it took me years after getting back from the military, going through dead-end jobs where, again, hated what I was doing, but I had to survive. I finally walked into an EMT school because I was bored. And then I went on to paramedic school, and now I work full-time as a firefighter. Outside, thank you. Outside of the traditional way of doing things is basically how I've lived my whole life. And I can say with some certainty that there are probably some people in this room, maybe even some retirees, who either hated the jobs that they were in or currently hate the jobs that they're in because it's the only option that was afforded to them. So if we can vote on future spending bills and vote negative, that might be the way to go. But as far as this bill, if you're giving even one child a chance to do something that they've grown up alongside their parents doing, that they truly love, that will make them a happy addition to the workforce as opposed to a miserable one, then this bill should be voted yes upon. And in the future, when there's another high dollar bill that we may be able to do a lot without, vote no on that to save money. But when it comes to children, every child should have a chance to do what they want to do, and what they love to do with their lives. Thank you.
You could state your name.
Chris Graham. I live at 271
Chair
Water Street.
recognizes Chris.
I graduated from the VOTEC in 98 from carpentry, and if I didn't have that foundation and go through what I went through, then I wouldn't be able to have done what I did and have done. I've had a couple different companies. I employ local people right here on the South Shore, and the VOTEC gave me the confidence and foundation to be able to do that. After I graduated from VOTEC, I graduated from Wentworth Institute of Technology, which was a great opportunity. What else would I want to touch on? The VOTEC offers, Steve really nailed it on this one, square, circles, round pegs, whatever it is, but you're able to fit into the right spot. And just to really sum it up, I had a hard time learning at school and paying attention, and this school made it really easy for me. I definitely fit in, and it was the right place. And I didn't only fit in, I was able to excel. What did it really do? It gave me the confidence to start my own company and do it a couple different times, run a bunch of different ones, and have that confidence. And also I have a whole bunch of networks, so now when I go to any town, I have all my old friends. I just bumped into one today on the phone, actually. It was awesome to catch up for a few minutes. We hadn't chatted in 20 years. I know everybody wants to get this thing over with. I guess the last thing that I want to say is that at the very least, let's at least see this pass tonight so we can see what happens at the town meeting. And that's my only ask, and thank you all for coming.
Chair recognize Ethan McHugh.
Yep. I don't use Facebook anymore. It's made me immeasurably happier. But as a consequence, I think I'm one of the few people who bumbled in here not knowing what the issue of the day was going to be. Listening to everyone speak, I think there's credence to it. Let's just vote yes tonight. I'll talk to... Talk to the lady over there about the financials afterwards, because I think, like he said, there's just a million reasons to be skeptical of everything on a face level reading, and we got time to figure this out. So if everyone here is unsure, just harass the people who know, or we're part of the process, I guess.
Chair, if you could state your name.
Hi, my name is Rose Cooper.
Chair recognizes Rose Cooper.
So I am I didn't go to South Shore VOTEC, but I did go to Silver Lake Regional High School. I'm a graduate of the metal fabrication program. And without the opportunity to be able to go to VOTEC, I probably would have ended up dropping out of high school because I'm not good at reading and writing. I'm not good at spelling. I'm not good with words. I'm good with numbers. I'm good with learning hands-on. A conventional high school would not have offered that to me. And it also wouldn't have given me the opportunity to get the jobs that I had. I got a job straight out of high school. During COVID, I was an essential worker making $30 an hour at 18 years old. There's not a lot of people that can say that, and without VOTEC, I wouldn't have been able to do that. We also have to keep in mind that we're not voting against adults. We're not choosing things for other adults in the town. We're voting against the kids who literally do not have a say. Kids going into high school, kids in high school cannot vote. We have to be their voice. We are the ones that are, if this doesn't pass, if this doesn't go, we are taking an opportunity away from children, an opportunity that they didn't get a chance to have a say in. There are a bunch of kids out there who want to go to VOTEC. They want to learn hands-on. They want to help the community. And if we vote no, if we don't vote yes on this, if we don't let this pass, then we are taking an opportunity away from children. It's not going to affect it's going to affect the adults in a tax way, but it's going to affect kids in a long run because they are going to have so much more trouble. Kids like me are going to have a lot more trouble getting through high school. The dropout rate in conventional high school versus the dropout rate in a VOTEC school, VOTEC school has a way lower dropout rate. So everyone just vote yes, let this pass, let the rest of the people of this town have a say in whether this is going to officially pass or not.
Could state your name. Oh, point of order. State.
About 7 minutes to 9, I'd like to call for the vote for a second time
the one other ground rule is that you can't move the question from the floor, that you have to stand and be recognized and in the order in which any other speaker would be organized.
Maybe somebody will do it.
And the chair should have made that clear at the beginning. Chair recognizes.
Thank you,
if
Mr.
could-
Moderator.
if
My
you could
name
just
is
state your-
Judy Ferrante, and I live
Judy.
on D Street in Pembroke. I will try to be brief. I'd like to start by asking a question of the superintendent, just as a point of clarification. If this vote does not go through at this election, does that end our opportunity to participate at South Shore VOTEC? End of story, or can this be moved forward to our fall election or our election next year?
Chair recognizes the superintendent of schools, Erin Obie.
So it would end our opportunity for this year. So currently, with the timeline that we're on, our first group of students would be eligible to attend South Shore Tech for the school year of 27-28. We could bring it up at a future time, but we'd have to start the process all over again, which you'd have to do the vote you all did this past fall. We'd have to have a new regional agreement written. We'd have to go through the process of the 9 member towns voting to include us. We'd have to come back and do this 2-piece override again. And then the piece that we don't talk a lot about because we don't have any control over it is that even after we vote potentially in favor this Saturday, the state still has to approve us joining the region, and they have till the end of the calendar year. So yes, you could bring it up again, but it has been almost a 2 to 3 year process at this point. So.
Chair recognizes Jim Kincaid.
Thank you. Jim Kincaid, Spring Street, Pembroke. Mr. Moderator, is it too soon to move the issue?
The chair would answer in the negative. Jim Kincaid moves the question, which is not debatable. All those in favor, please. Someone state a point of order? No. Oh, was there a second? I think I heard a second. Yeah, I heard a second. All those in favor of Jim Kincaid's motion to move the question, which would bring us immediately to a vote, all those in favor, please raise your hand. Opposed, please raise your hand. The ayes have it, and I declare it so voted. So we'll go right on to the question. A motion made by Sue Bollinger. All those in favor, now this does require a 2/3. So, yeah, the chair is going to order a standing vote because unless it's a slam dunk, we're going to be asked what the count is. So we'll do a standing vote. All those in favor of the motion by Sue Bollinger on Article 11, please stand and remain standing until counted.
Ginny Wandel, 44 yes.
Karen Wright, 57.
Matt Newman, 33.
Sue Renee, 70. 70 yes.
Karen Flashman, 54.
You may be seated, and we ask all those voting no, all those opposed to the motion, please stand and remain standing.
No. No.
Sue Renee, 47 no.
On this matter, 258 voting in the affirmative, 128 voting in the negative. The chair declares it so voted, having reached the necessary two-thirds needed for passage. What's the number? Next item of business is Article 7. Chair recognizes from advisory. Chair would also just advise that we do have some items, important items still left in the warrant, so we need to make sure a quorum is maintained. The chair recognizes Liz Bonatti from advisory.
Mr. Moderator, move that the town appropriate from the Community Preservation Fiscal Year 27 estimated annual revenues the amount recommended by the Community Preservation Committee as set forth in the 2026 annual town meeting warrant, with each item to be considered a separate appropriation. Appropriations from fiscal 27 estimated revenues for Historic Resources Reserve, $50,000. From fiscal 27 estimated revenues for Community Housing Reserve, $50,000. From fiscal 27 estimated revenues for Open Space Reserve, $50,000. From fiscal 27 estimated revenues for Community Administrative Expenses, $20,000. And further, to appropriate any remaining Community Preservation Fund fiscal 27 estimated revenues to the Community Preservation Fund annual budgeted reserve.
Motion's been made and seconded. Is there any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor of the motion by Liz Bonatti, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it, and I declare it so voted. Article 12.
Excuse me, Steve.
Chair recognizes
Steve,
a
can I
familiar
just say,
voice. Point of order.
Peg Struzik, Old Tree Road. The fact that all these people got up and left,
So,
I hope that the people who are watching on television see how much respect they have for the rest of the town business.
so So Article 12 are the specific recommendations, proposals by the CPC. We will take them each individually as if they were separate items. So on recommendation A, the chair recognizes the chairman of the CPC, Andy Wandel.
Okay.
So recommendation A is to appropriate the sum of $30,000 from the Community Preservation Fund Undesignated Reserve Fund for recreational purposes, and that said funds be granted to the Community Services Director for the construction of bocce courts at the community center, thereby creating and rehabilitating land for recreational use.
Motion has been made and seconded. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of the motion by Andy, please say aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. Chair recognizes for recommendation B, Andy Wandel.
Move to appropriate the sum of $45,000 from the Community Preservation Fund Undesignated Reserve Fund for recreational purposes, and that said funds be granted to the Community Services Director for equipment shed replacement at the Mattakesett Street ball fields, thereby preserving and rehabilitating land for recreational purposes.
Motion's been made and seconded. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of the motion, please say aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. Recommendation C, the chair recognizes Andy Wandel.
Move to appropriate the sum of $15,000 from the Community Preservation Fund Undesignated Reserve Fund for recreational purposes, and that said funds be granted to the Community Services Director for an equipment shed at the Magoon Park, thereby preserving and restoring land for recreational use.
Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of the motion, please say aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. Recommendation D, the chair recognizes Andy Wandel.
Move to appropriate the sum of $13,000 from the Community Preservation Fund Undesignated Reserve Fund for recreational purposes, and that said funds be granted to the Community Services Director for the construction of a summer program office with storage, thereby preserving and rehabilitating land for recreational use.
Is there a second? Second. Motion's been made and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. Recommendation E, the chair recognizes Andy Wandel.
Okay. Move to appropriate the sum of $50,000 from the Community Preservation Fund Undesignated Reserve Fund for recreational purposes, and that said funds be granted to Pembroke Youth Soccer for backstop netting at Hobbamock Soccer Fields, thereby preserving and rehabilitating land for recreational use.
Second. Motion's been made and seconded. No storage shed on this one, right? No. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it, and I declare it so voted. Article 10, 10's been done? Article 9. Chair recognizes Steve Patt from Advisory Committee.
Mr. Moderator, I move that the town take no action on Article 9.
Motion's been made and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. I declare it so voted. Article 8. Chair recognizes Sandy Beaton from Advisory.
Move that the town authorize fiscal year 27 spending limits for the revolving counts pursuant to Massachusetts General Laws, Chapter 44, Section 53E half, as printed in Article 8 of the 2026 Annual Town Meeting warrant.
Motion's been made and seconded. Is there any discussion? This is a fairly routine article. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. I declare it so voted. Article 4. Chair recognizes Brian Logan from Advisory.
Mr. Moderator, move that the town appropriate the sum of $2,903,059 from solid waste revenues to fund the fiscal year 2027 Solid Waste Enterprise Fund, as shown in Appendix D of the 2026 Annual Town Meeting warrant.
Motion's been made and seconded.
Mr. Moderator?
Yes, the chair recognizes Matthew McNeely.
Matthew McNeely, I would ask whoever may know the answer to the question, what exactly is this going to do to my trash bill for the next year? If I vote for this money, how much is my trash bill going to be next year? Is it going to be twice it, 3 times? Are we going up 1.5?
Chair recognizes...
Is the truck collecting bowling balls from years past? I mean, you know.
Chair recognizes Town Manager Bill Chenard.
So the estimate at this point is a $40 increase in the trash fee. However, I'm going to implore everyone here and everyone watching at home to, when you fill your recycle bin, make sure that you're filling it with items that are recyclable. We can cut that cost dramatically if we can reduce the amount of waste that we put into our recycling. We are currently over 20% waste in our recycling. We get that number below 10, we'll actually be making a profit on our recyclables. So let's do our share, let's get this cost down.
Any further discussion on this matter? Seeing none, all those in favor of the motion from advisory, please say aye. Opposed, no. So we'll do it by show of hands. All those in favor of the motion by advisory, please raise your hand. Opposed, please raise your hand. The ayes have it, and I declare it so voted. Article 16.
I move that the town...
Chair recognizes Lewis.
I move that the town bring to the election officers their vote, all on one ballot, for the officers and committees as printed in Article 27 of the 2025 Annual Town Meeting warrant.
Motion's been made and seconded. Again, a fairly routine article. The election is actually part of the warrant. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it, and I declare it so voted. Article 13. Chair recognizes Steve Pat from advisory.
Mr. Moderator, I am honored to move that the town vote to accept Massachusetts General Law, Chapter 59, Clause 5, Section 22J, which authorizes an annual increase in the amount of the exemption granted under General Laws, Chapter 59, Section 5, Clause 22, Clause 22A, Clause 22B, Clause 22C, 22E, and Clause 22F, provided that the exemption granted under Section 22J shall be an increase of 10% to be effective for applicable exemptions granted July 1st, 2026.
Motion has been made and seconded. Is there any discussion? The chair recognizes Ethan McHugh.
What are the exemptions for?
Chair recognizes Town Manager Bill Chenard.
So those clauses are all veterans exemptions for disabled veterans.
Cool.
Any further discussion? Seeing none. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. The chair neglected to mention earlier that early voting has started. It ends fairly soon, and the chair would just ask the town clerk to take a moment, acting town clerk, just to tell people when early voting, what the hours are of the polling places on Saturday.
Thank you. So early voting ends tomorrow. It's going to be 8 to 4:30. You're going to go upstairs to room 13 in the conference room. And the polls are open Saturday from 9 to 5. All of our precincts go to the community center. And we have had a wonderful turnout for early voting. We're at about 530 voters already for early voting in person, which is tremendous.
Great. Thanks, Andy. Next item of business is Article 6. And if you were playing bingo, it's B6. The B's actually on the ball. The chair recognizes Tim Landy from advisory.
Move that the town appropriate and transfer for free cash the sum of $125,000 to be added to the other post-employment benefits liability fund established to vote by the vote of Article 11 of April 24, 2012 annual town meeting. And further, that the sum of $175,000 be appropriated and transferred from free cash to the separation pay benefits fund established by the vote of Article 16 in November 4th, 2003 special town meeting. And further, that the sum of $50,000 be appropriated and transferred from free cash to be added to the Capital Stabilization Fund established by the vote of Article 22 of May 8th, 2018 town meeting. And the sum of $50,000 be appropriated and transferred from free cash to the Stabilization Fund. And further, that the sum of $50,000 be appropriated and transferred from free cash to the Special Injury Leave Fund established by the vote of Article 7 of May 9th, 2017 town meeting. And lastly, and further, that the sum of $50,000 be appropriated and transferred from free cash to the Worker Compensation Insurance Fund established by the vote of Article 4 of October 24th, 2017 town meeting.
Motion has been made and seconded, a fairly lengthy motion, but a fairly routine article. Any discussion? All those in favor, please say aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it, and I declare it so voted. Article 5. Chair recognizes Linda Peterson, Chairperson of Advisory.
Move that the town appropriate $45,191,700 for the capital project set forth in Appendix E of the 2026 annual town meeting warrant. That to meet this appropriation, the town, 1, transfer $731,700 from free cash for the projects and the amounts listed as free cash under the column funding source, as printed in Appendix E. 2, transfer $215,000 from water fund retained earnings for the projects and in the amounts listed as water retained earnings under the column funding source, as printed in said Appendix E. 3, authorize the treasurer, with the approval of the Select Board, to borrow $41,750,000 under Chapter 44, Section 8 of the General Laws or any other enabling authority, and to issue bonds and notes for the projects and the amounts listed as water borrowing under the column funding source. 4, authorize the treasurer, with the approval of the Select Board, to borrow $2,495,000 under Chapter 44, Section 7 of the General Laws or any other enabling authority, and to issue bonds and notes for the projects and in the amounts listed as general fund borrowing under the column funding source, as printed in said Appendix E, and authorize the town manager to take any other action necessary or convenient to carry out these projects.
Motion has been made and seconded. This does require a two-thirds vote. We'll try it first with a show of hands, but is there any discussion on this capital budget item in the motion moved by advisory? Seeing none, all those in favor of the motion, please raise your hand. All those opposed, please raise your hand. Chair declares it so voted, having reached the necessary two-thirds needed for passage. Article 3. Chair recognizes Steve Siciotti from Advisory.
I move that the town appropriate the sum of $5,273,323 from water revenue to fund the FY 2027 Water Enterprise Fund as shown in Appendix C of the 2026 annual town meeting warrant.
Motion's been made and seconded. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of the motion by Steve Siciotti, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it, and I declare it so voted. And the last item of business is Article 14. Chair recognizes Tim Landy from Advisory.
Move that the town vote to amend its general bylaws, Article XX, Police Regulations, Section 7 of the town's general bylaws by inserting the underlying text as printed in the 2026 annual town meeting warrant under Article 14.
Motion's been made and seconded. Any discussion? Seeing none. All those in favor of the motion, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. Nonetheless, Tracy Marino moves that this meeting stand dissolved, which is a little better than adjourning, which is what we normally do. All those in favor of the motion, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it, and I declare the meeting dissolved. Thank you very much for your attendance and participation.